Hi everyone, I wanted to do a short video today, or what's planning to be short, who knows what is in store for us, about just being conscious about what we do, the choices we make, why I think we should always be questioning those things and at times challenging ourselves on it and pivoting and choosing different. Like, why do we do what we do? And if we do what we do, why do we continue to do what we do versus questioning ourselves, questioning our choices? And in doing so, you may find like, oh, that's still a good choice for me and continue to do it. Or you may come out on the other side and go, oh, there's actually something better for me. I'll give a few examples. The first example I'll talk about is for me and like my working out. I still do it. I'm still going every day in some capacity. But for me, I was really struggling with the modality. So for a very long time, for several years, I did CrossFit. And then it just wasn't feeling right in my body anymore. So I think it was in 2021, 2022. No, it was like 2022. I basically left and I went and pivoted and just went to the gym. I got a coach and I did bodybuilding like programming, and I would do check-ins and I would track my macros and I would do Monday photos, and I had my rigid routine of like Mondays were certain, leg days, split days, and this and that. And for a while, and especially through chemotherapy and everything, it carried me through and it was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted and what I needed. And then at about like 6-7 months ago, it started to become very like heavy for me. And not in a bad way. Like, I love working out, I love being physical, but it was becoming heavy and so much of a lift, and it never was before. So I was like, hold on, let's pause here. Like, what are you doing and why are you doing it, right? So it's like, okay, in the beginning, I have to be physical. So before the pandemic, I would do 2-a-days. I would go CrossFit in the morning, and then at night I would go lift at the gym, or I would go do a different kind of cardio, or I would take a boutique fitness class. And that was where I was and what I wanted. And then there was a time for a long time where I would do Bikram yoga every day, no matter what, like the 90 minutes. I would rush and I would get there and I'd be like rigid to get there, right? To the point where I was like, this is a little unhealthy, because you're like being a psycho about going to practice yoga, and yoga it's like literally the opposite of that. Pandemic kind of killed that anyway, so didn't have to like figure that out in the thereafter. But recently I was like, time out. Why are you doing this? Why did you choose to do this type of programming, and what do you want? And I had to sit with myself. Like, I literally asked that question out loud. I looked in the mirror and said, why are you doing this? What do you want? And I'm like, okay, well, when I originally agreed to do this, it was about, I wanted to have the aesthetics. I wanted my quads to be like super jacked, and I wanted them to be cut. And it was, and I wanted to have like my arms in like a chiseled way, like a soft chisel, but like hard, but not, like all these things. And it was all about aesthetic. And that worked. And, the dedication and like well, not the dedication's like, is what it is. Like, that's not something you train. It just, I think you're either a dedicated human being or you're not. But it was just like having the structure of the program for me was everything. Because in my mind, if you do X, Y, and Z, like if you do A and B, like you will get to C, right? So, and I feel like that's how I operate in life, where I believe that if I follow the checklist, that I will arrive to the promised land, to the promised destination, right? Because if you do everything in a sequential order, in a linear way, like that's like the logical outcome. So I'm doing all these things, on chemo, so therefore muscle mass not happening, right? Because you can't build anything on chemo. I could really only maintain. And even then, like, I'm gonna lose what I'm gonna lose, right? And any strength that I kept, like it's just like this very like, when you like really think about it, it's like I'm not building any real new muscle because I don't have, my body's not able to compete with the chemo that's killing everything. I'm not able to build muscle, and whatever muscle I may be building is not anything that's lasting because it's not like a whole 100% of all the right things that will create and build strength, right? Because the protein, everything's off. Your body can't replicate. It's in a complete shit show, shit storm, whatever you want to call it. So fast forward to when I'm done everything, now I'm seeing changes, and it's not because the programming all of a sudden is working. It's because my body is able to work with everything, and it's not fighting itself anymore, and it's not competing resources to, do I heal or do I let her build her quads? And then I sat with myself and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why do I want to do a bodybuilding competition? No, I never wanted that. I never wanted to do that. Okay. So why then are you doing photos and macros and being obsessive about getting in a program? And it's like, actually, I don't know. It's like aesthetics. It's like, okay, well, you can still have aesthetics and you can still have a disciplined routine, but you don't have to be forcing yourself down this road, which was essentially like causing me not to enjoy the gym as much as it did before, because I was getting stressed where I'm like, I need sleep, so I gotta sleep, but I still have to get in this 90 minutes because it's all this programming. It takes time. It's X amount of reps, X amount of everything. And I was just getting overwhelmed. And part of the overwhelmness, I think, I don't know if it's a word, but part of the overwhelm was post-cancer, there's just a level of chaos or stimulation that I don't have the capacity for it anymore. And I think it's a good thing, because I think that the more stuff and chaos we can hold, I think is not necessarily a badge of honor. I think that it just means that you're suppressing and you're like in survival, and I just think it's all the wrong things. So there'll be times where I'm just overwhelmed now, and the old me would just suck it and figure it out. Now I like say, this is too much. It's overwhelmed. Like, I can't do it. And I could do it, but I don't want to do it, whether it's work, play, whatever it is, like if I walk in somewhere and I'm overwhelmed, I'm just like, I need a minute. So the fact that the gym was doing that, I was like, I have to make some changes, and no one's implementing this but me to myself. So I had to like separate all these things. You don't want to be in a competition, so take the pressure off. Like, why do you have to do this? It's like, okay. And then when it came down to like, I have to get all these things done in this one day in this amount of time, I'm like, no, you don't. Like, if you want to choose like Monday is going to be gluten quad day, then great. But then if you get to the gym and everybody's doing legs and no one's upstairs doing back and shoulders, maybe you just switch and go and do back and shoulders. And like, I know it sounds so silly and you're like, duh, but like, no, when you're stuck in your loop, in your pattern, you're on autopilot and you're doing things that don't necessarily make sense or benefit you, because you're not thinking, you're just head down, grinding. So it's important to come up for air and question everything that you're doing, right? Why am I eating the way I'm eating? Why am I going to the gym at this hour? Why am I sacrificing sleep when I really should? If I need 2 more hours of sleep, why am I waking up at 3:30 in the morning to get to the gym at 4? Like, who am I proving anything to? What am I doing any of this for? And if I'm doing it for me, then why am I doing things and choosing things that are at a detriment to myself? So it's just this real coming to Jesus, coming to Kia, moment, not calling myself Jesus, but like bringing it back to myself. Like, wow, I can choose different. I can choose that I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to base how I feel in my body. Like, I'm a little tired. Okay, so you're going to sleep an extra 30 minutes and you'll get to the gym, and you don't have to rush, because at the end of the day, I'm going to get to the office when I get to the office, right? Like, I don't subscribe to things, I don't rush anymore. Like, I have to do what's best for me, and I'm not going to deregulate my system for something that, not that it doesn't matter, but certain things don't matter, right? Me doing my job to the best of my ability is all that matters. Whether I walk in the door at 8:50 or 9:15 doesn't really make a difference, right? Because my job is the same, and I'm going to deliver the same, it doesn't, no matter the difference. So, like, I don't need to be like crazy and stressed out and running and being a part of the grind and getting in the office stressed out, sweating, like, none of that energy can be good for my job, for me, for anyone, right? So it's much better that I take my time, I do what I need to do, and I get there, and then I'm fully present, right? I'm regulated, I'm able to respond, and I'm not reacting and being a crazy person. So I took that into my workouts, and I decided that, I let, my relationship with the coach, I put that on pause. I have the knowledge that I have and I need, and I have this beautiful gym where there's a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of machines, and I move and I go and I decide, okay, today, like, when I'm going to the gym, I'm like, I'm gonna work glutes, abductors, we're gonna work, quads, and like, what are my goals? My goals are to stay strong, but I'm not focused on what my back squat is, because why? Because it actually doesn't matter for what I'm doing, right? I just want to be strong and fit. I don't want to be a certain weight. Obviously I don't want to, I want to be what I like, correct for my body and my frame, but I'm not trying to throw on a bunch of muscle and do all these things. And yeah, I want my quads to be more defined and stronger and leaner, and that will happen in time because I'm doing all the right things, right? And I don't have to be obsessive about hitting 15 different, maybe not 15, like 5 different exercises just to work on these specific muscles. It's like, no, do and move in a holistic way that's healthy and keeps me strong, maintains the muscle, maybe it builds a little more, and keeps me fit. And it's made all the difference, right? And especially in the cardio, it's like cardio is important to me because I want to keep my conditioning. So it's like, all right, I'm committed to cardio every day, but it doesn't happen every day. So you know what? I'm committed to making sure cardio happens at least 5 days a week. Easy, done, versus it has to happen every day. Because when something has to be something every day, there will be a day where it comes at a cost, and it always costs you to yourself, and that's just not what we want. So that's just something that I've really been asking myself. And so that was that, and that's also why I integrated Pilates more in, and Pilates in a core at home, because it's there's certain things that I'm I want to re-strengthen and retrain my core, because radiation really just changed, I think, the structure on this side, and I stayed in guard so long that I actually was not engaging the same way. And now that I'm able to reconnect and engage, I am, and it's wow, these things really matter, so more so than just doing something because I've done it. And it's really been interesting this December as well, because I recently really wanted to deep dive back into my finances, because the last few years have been trying, and I'm very blessed and I'm good, but there were some habits that were going on where I'm what is that, and where did that stem from, and do I want to do that anymore, right? So it's just with the whole abuse situation, once that person was out of my life and I was restarting things, there were certain things that I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna spend the money. I wanted to redo my apartment. I wanted to make it fully mine and me. And so I spent money and I did that. And then, legal fees came in. It's okay, well, whatever. And then 5 months later, surprise, you have cancer, which turned into a whole other thing. And I realized that I have a trauma response in my spending. So I self-soothe by buying shit, right? And it's not horrible stuff or junk or whatever. Some of it has come and is very, handy and helpful. And there's other things where I look and I'm like, why did I buy that? Like, was it literally, did it make me happy for 2 seconds and then I just like moved on? And the answer is yes, right? And there was also a point in time where I was like, I don't even know that I'm gonna get to live, so who the fuck cares? I went to Aloe and I got these jackets. I ordered them online and I was like, oh, I'll keep one and send one back. And then once the cancer diagnosis came, I was like, fuck it, I'm keeping both because I may not be here. So like, does it actually even matter? And then, eventually I learned that I'm going to get to live and I'm not going to die, or well, I will die one day, but just not right now, that I know of. So it's like, I can't live in this state of like, whatever, so there has to be, awareness and intention in all of my choices, be it at the gym or how I'm spending my money. And, always questioning, like, why am I doing that? I love handbags. So there's certain things that I always wanted and I earned and I bought and I have. And then of late, I've just been going through and like doing an audit of everything. It's like, okay, certain things I've achieved and I've gotten and it's given me the joy and I haven't touched it in a year. So then the question goes, do I just hold on to this or do I let it go? Do I sell it and then repurpose that and use the money to like do a new endeavor or something like that? So it's been a very lovely month in December, because who knows when you'll actually watch this video, of December of 2025, of just like really questioning and letting go of things instead of holding on, because it's just fucking stuff, and letting it go and really questioning before I replace anything or bring anything in. It's like, do I really need this? Does it really bring purpose, intention, functionality? Or is it something that's a trauma response? Is it something that I'm chasing that even after I achieve it, I'm still going to be chasing, right? And I think it's important for us to ask ourselves these questions, because otherwise we just turn into consumers and doing things on autopilot without really asking or knowing why. And I just think it's just super important, and it's been extremely freeing. I know I keep saying that in doing those things. And also it's good to check in and make new choices and changes. I think it's very odd if people never change or never expand and never grow and never question. Because you can question and still choose to do what you do, right? But I find, for myself anyway, the more I question and the longer that I truthfully sit in it, I learn a lot about myself in my whys and my intention. And I quite often always do shift. It's never like, oh, that was perfect and that was right. That was right when I made it and that's still right now. Usually that's just not the case. Usually it comes to, like that's a very like interesting and quite profound and introspective thing that I learn about myself. And then it's freeing to be able to choose and move differently, right? Because every decision that we make, it's made in that season, right? So certain decisions I made in a season of survival, in a season of being completely in masculine energy, in protection, in survival mode. And now I feel like I'm completely in my feminine energy, and I just would never make that decision the way that I would make it, it now, to the point so where some of it looks like a mistake and what I'm embodying now. So that's why I think it's really important to go and audit all the decisions and all the choices. And moving forward, it's just like I get to be in this powerful position over the agency of my life and my choices. And sometimes choices seem like small, like, oh, that doesn't matter. But it's like every little micro decision does have a macro effect over time, because everything compounds. So, yeah, I challenge you in the last, few weeks of 2025 to think about like an audit, your choices, your decisions. What can you do differently? Why do you do what you do? Why do you spend the way you spend? Why do you eat the way you eat? Why do you do what you do? Like ask yourself these questions and see where they lead you.